YouTube, what it do? It's your boy Benji, and before I get into the topic of this video, I do have a quick question for y'all. I'm thinking of potentially changing the channel name. Something like Kayfabe Critic, or Going Over with Benji, or Popcorn and Pile Driver, something along that line. Let me know what y'all think. The wrestling world has been the topic of plenty of discussions over the last week. I wouldn't necessarily say it's because of the best things. There's people in AEW that are not the happiest about MJF getting squashed, but the large portion of anger is coming from people that had to watch WrestleMania and the ensuing episodes. I gave y'all my spiel, but we are now loading things up to Backlash. Let's talk about how we got there. I kind of forgot what year we're in, man. I thought it was 2020 all over again, bro. We had the Bloodline members all on one table. Roman Reigns letting the Usos know that the past is the past and he's going to leave it there. Because now he's realized through the bumps he can trust these guys. I wouldn't necessarily say that that's the conclusion I would have came to, but shout out to Roman. Roman's point of contention with Jacob Fatu challenging him is that, again, he's mentioned that he'd given the entire roster opportunities for the last 2 years to chase all the gold they wanted to before he came back. But now suddenly that the tribal chief is our champ, Jacob now wants to challenge for the title? I ain't gonna lie, that does sound a little snaky. I'm not trying to take sides, but my tribal chief is not normally wrong about this kind of stuff. Jimmy was in there basically saying he agrees with Jacob and he's just trying to get bills paid. Again, I enjoy the fact that Roman Reigns puts a lot of significance on not only the title, but the person holding the title. It means something, especially when the majority of these shows are just people showing up and becoming the new champion. A good chunk of this too has the Usos kind of bickering back and forth. Jay's kind of like losing it. He's like, bro, we have to give out consequences to people that step to the tribal chief and disrespect the family. So I do kind of like the good cop, bad cop kind of approach here, where the two twins are kind of almost representative of the angel and the devil on the shoulder. I mean, look at the way they're even laid out. I do want to point out though, Roman Reigns has not apologized to Jey Uso yet. Next, we got to see a big shouting match between Bron Breakker and Seth Rollins. I will say, there was actually a lot of intentionality in this episode to keep up and piece together some of the storylines. It was a nice touch that a lot of the wrestlers actually referenced things that were going on and could at least voice their concerns instead of just us feeling like things are just coming out of nowhere. Basically, Bron Breakker, while he was funny when he mimicked Seth Rollins, was just saying the same things that all of us have been saying. Seth is like blaming Bron for the fall off of the vision, saying that everything that he could have had in the world of wrestling was given to him on a silver platter if he was just patient. Bron's like, bro, I didn't have to wait for anything. I didn't need you for anything. I was already on my way without you. And that's what we were all saying. Seth Rollins gets all of his accolades and accomplishments listed out by Bron Breakker. And this does lead me to another issue that I commonly see on these shows. Majority of the promos are just glaze segments. Okay, I get it. These guys all share locker rooms and have seen some of the success of these wrestlers. They respect them. A lot of the content nowadays in wrestling is just so serious. I think that we've lost a little bit of the goofiness that was present in wrestling at one time. But does everything have to be like, yo, you're the best ever, but look, it's my time now? It's just so repetitive, man. And then Bron dunks on him, is like, look, you're so good at all of these things. You've been so accomplished that you're the greatest number 2 there is. The crowd kind of oohs and ahs at this, but I don't think this is anything crazy to just bring to the forefront. Roman Reigns said this a long time ago. And then Seth Rollins is just like, yeah, that was pretty good, baby Steiner. And the two of them jaw jack for a little bit before Seth Rollins is basically like, you're not even the best in your family. The subject of the matter of this promo was just extremely limited to me, if you had to ask. These guys have been building up what could have been great tension and story over the last year. And this is what the guys are coming to the mic to talk about. I enjoyed the intensity of this promo, but personally, the subject matter of it was just a little lackluster for me. I'm just kind of upset that we went through an entire year of this storyline to get a payoff match at Backlash. These two are literally just going to go fight for nothing. Like, Seth Rollins is acting as if he's doing Bron Breakker a favor by allowing him to fight him at Backlash. He's like, you get the chance to prove to me that you're ready. What the freak do you mean by that? What would Bron Breakker beating down Seth Rollins in a ring do to prove anything? You're not a champion holder. We got Penta matching up against Rusev. We had Ethan Page sitting ringside. Again, let's take kayfabe into consideration. Why are they allowing random wrestlers to show up ringside? Now, Adam Pearce, what did you think Ethan Page was going to do here outside the ring? Penta and Rusev are fighting. Ethan Page is brand new to your roster. He has 0 friends here. What is he to do here other than just cause trouble? Eventually, Penta just wins with a roll-up. That's it. I thought that the attempt at the finisher here was kind of interesting. Penta fake a springboard leap, which was potentially going to be a springboard crossbody or something like that onto Rusev. He faked it and they just snuck under there for a roll-up. It didn't look believable, but it was at least different. Of course, Ethan Page ran into the ring and he and Rusev decided to jump Penta. And then Javon Evans ran in to save the day. I feel like I said that this was going to be a tag team match. Next, we had Becky Lynch come to the ring and gloat. Now, she says she's going to be a fighting champion. Have we heard that before, chat? But what's going to differentiate her from anybody else is that she doesn't want to just fight against a nostalgia act. She wants to fight against somebody who's new, who's shiny. I will say I did laugh a little bit at Becky Lynch because even though she offered an opportunity for anybody backstage to come challenge her that met those criteria metrics, Io Sky came out and she was like, look, I said new, shiny, exciting. You're none of these things. Like, Becky is just so corny, but it works. The crowd was booing Becky and she was like, look, the crowd's even booing you, Io. Like I be saying though, Becky normally ties in storylines pretty well. And she was like, look, I get it. You're coming out here to introduce Rhea. That makes sense. I could be Becky 2 titles. She's like, bro, you're basically the Marty Jannetty to Shawn Michaels. And I ain't trying to fight Marty Jannetty. Of course, Adam Pearce makes this match official. And they sent out a referee who's brand new. I mean, I know that they were doing roster cuts, but new refs too? At least this falls in line with the whole storyline of Becky Lynch not liking that one referee. At a certain point in the match, Asuka comes and interferes. But this is unbeknownst to the referee. Like, at first, I enjoyed being able to have a match like this on a Monday Night Raw. But I think a lot of the gravitas of this match, that for a lot of people could be a dream match, is taken away from the moment because there's a good chunk of the segments in this match where they're just kicking out of each other's finishers and things like that. I'm not a biggest fan of that, especially if it's going to be a nothing match on Monday that we're going to forget about next week. Becky gets the manhandle slam and she wins. And to add insult to injury, Asuka runs into the ring and chokes Io out. Now, we all remember that this storyline originated because Io was supposedly not staying true to her senpai and her family member, Kairi. But they continue to move forwards on this Monday Night Raw as if Kairi never existed, when Kairi was a huge catalyst of the story. I've already told y'all a million times how I dislike how people just show up and interrupt in matches, and that's like their recipe. But like, why is Asuka doing this? Like, I understand that this is all like a continuation of the storyline where she believes that she chose Rhea over her family. I understand that. But I mean, like, why is she costing Io a chance at the Intercontinental Championship? If she wanted to fight Io, what if Io would have just won? And then it would be insult to injury that she could not only fight Io, but she could take the title away from her. It's not even like a logical thing. Like, it's inconsistent when these people start interrupting in matches as well. Because it's not as if it was a thing where I'm like, look, I'm going to be the shadow that's looming over every decision that you make. So whenever you get an opportunity to try and make something right or something good happen, I'm going to make sure you don't find any success here because of the way you treated me. Nothing like that. She just interrupts and picks and chooses when to do so. And like, she's willing to cheat in matches that are not hers. But she just lost to freaking Io and them last week. Why not cheat in your own match? I feel like I'm going to talk about it later as well, but man, it's like literally following the rules on these shows gets you 0 places. It gets you nowhere. Why would Asuka sit back, relax, and enjoy the show when the only way that she's going to get on a program is if she shows up and starts drama? She's on Backlash now by doing what? She didn't follow any rules. She wasn't able to actually schedule a match. She just kept intervening in Io Sky's matches until eventually she got this scheduled match. Literally, if you were a wrestler backstage, why would anyone follow the rules? The people on the show, and I talked about this I think in prior videos, majority of the storylines here are people being awarded for not following the rules. Seth Rollins and Bron Breakker are 2 people who have literally just intervened in every opportunity that the 2 of them have had to win anything. The whole Vision storyline was them defiling the rules that were set forth by Adam Pearce. They were crashing every match on Raw. They were showing up on other shows. They were cheating every time Seth Rollins got a match. Why are they now just getting awarded a shot at Backlash when all they've been doing to get here is continually intervened in matches? There was legitimately a storyline of the Vision going against Adam Pearce because they were cheating every week. This stuff is nonsensical. Seth Rollins was talking about how Bron Breakker had costed him his opportunities. Bron Breakker's like, yo, you costed me at the Royal Rumble. Blah, 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 blah. They came back to Raw the next week after the Royal Rumble and were like, look, you sabotaged me, Adam Pearce. And they thought that he was sabotaging them because it was supposed to be punishment for all the rules they have been breaking. But fine, whatever. Go get a title shot. Because that's what this is going to lead to. No way they're just having a match in PLE to eventually do nothing. And what about Gunther here? What was the purpose of him even fighting against Seth Rollins? They proved nothing. Another reason why I don't understand why Seth Rollins telling Bron Breakker he has to prove something means anything. Because we got a segment of Joe Hendry showing up to sing a song. I ain't gonna lie, the song was pretty good though. It's basically a song of him signing to Raw. He's like, Raw, Joe Hendry is on Raw. I will say, I did appreciate how like creatively worked in Logan Paul to this and tried to, continue on with some of the crazy heat Logan Paul already has by just throwing him into the mix here. He's like, Adam Pearce, I give you one request. Can you fire Logan Paul? And he gets the crowd to sing it. Paul, let's fire Logan Paul. And then Logan Paul comes out there like a freaking frat bro on freaking creatine. Austin Theory, I kind of see what y'all saying, bro. He gets on the microphone and is like, yo, normally when people get into the ring, they have to go through the Vision. Or the Vision goes through them. And for you tonight, the Vision's going through your ass. Hey, yo. It isn't long before the Street Profits show up and try and even the playing field here after the Vision gets their muddy hands on Mr. Hendry. Something I feel like I've just addressed too many times before. Montez Ford is freaking good. He had the people eating out of the palm of his hand. He had them all doing the motions as if he never left. He then, after they stood tall, had the crowd doing the wave and whatnot to Joe Hendry's music. Montez just gets it, man. But he's going to be stuck doing this tag team nonsense. And then next, if you guys thought that I cared about this, you were deeply mistaken. Rey Mysterio fighting here is just to further keep the ball rolling on the Grande versus Grande match down the line for Mask versus Mask. Then the cameras go backstage to the Judgment Day clubhouse. Liv Morgan is trying to warn Roxanne Perez about the dangers of trying to listen to Finn Balor, because the women of the Judgment Day have her best interest at heart and Finn Balor does not. We get a little bit of a pump fake there that makes it seem as if Roxanne is going to turn on them. Finn Balor shows up and is like, look, you can't trust the Judgment Day. And she's like, look, I can't trust you. Which is just true. Nobody can trust anybody here. Finn Balor is the one that brought Roxanne to the Judgment Day, so I don't understand why now he's going to act like he's trying to help her out. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, Oba Femi had a squash match against Grayson Waller. Grayson Waller was just looking for an opponent backstage. He's hadn't been feeling like he's been getting his fair shot to prove himself. Listen here, Grayson Waller. You will potentially never win anything in the WWE. I don't even think he's going to get tag team gold anymore. I think he's legitimately done. Obafemi finally got the mic and said that since all of the champions are occupied on this show with their current contenders, he decided to find something else to do in the meantime. He created the Obafemi Challenge, which is supposed to, I guess, mirror what Brock Lesnar did that got him popping. But brother, you're not quite on yet. You just beat Brock Lesnar. People have beaten Brock Lesnar before. Like, even in kayfabe, this dude called out Roman Reigns for the title. Roman Reigns is like, you're on a little bit of a high horse right now because you beat Brock Lesnar. Well, guess what? I've done it multiple times. For a title. Without a title. Slow down. But yeah, I didn't really like this because I felt like this is what I think the WWE needed to come. That they needed to make this mean something. He beat Brock Lesnar, and he beat Brock Lesnar so badly that dude wanted to retire after tussling with dude. You can't then have Oba just show up and just job people out. We've already seen that. That didn't make it more believable for him to beat Brock Lesnar. If you had to ask me, at a certain point, it sours out your roster. Because everybody gets destroyed. At what point does anybody become believable after that? Because like I said, the only legitimate challengers should be Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, and CM Punk potentially. Only Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns had the title. And that makes another thing make no sense. This dude was talking about how the contenders had their the contenders and championship holders already are at odds. There's literally nobody vying for Cody Rhodes' title. CM Punk said he's down to do it, and Cody Rhodes said on this show and on Friday Night SmackDown that anybody can challenge for the title. Anywhere. Why not just go take advantage of a beating down Cody Rhodes, go get the title? Now you have Honor or something like that? Also, what the freak is the point of an Obafemi challenge? Why would anybody accept an opportunity to fight this dude? You're not Brock Lesnar, so like beating Obafemi is not going to put you on. In kayfabe, right? That wouldn't make any sense. Because the argument would have been, okay, that anybody that beat Cody Rhodes would now have suddenly been on. No, not even that. I'm sorry. Oba just had like a couple matches under his belt on the main roster before fighting Brock, so it's not quite like that. You can always make the argument that dude got lucky, right? But yeah, anyways, I don't understand why anybody would accept this challenge. What would be the point of this? Next, we saw the Judgment Day matchup against Lyra, VALKYRIA, and BAYLEY. Roxanne had Liv Morgan ringside to watch the greatness, the Raquel and Roxanne tag team duo. Whatever, man. I don't understand how the Judgment Day is still allowed to frolic around these matches as if they're not going to cheat, but whatever. Apparently, Roxanne was the hometown hero here. People were losing their minds. I still don't know why she does this like big run to the ropes in order to set up the pop rocks, but whatever. Her team got the win, and I think they're moving on to become tag team contenders. Okay. We also got a segment backstage where LYNCH trying to warn the Usos that if they're going back to being the bloodline version of themselves, they better watch out because LYNCH not finna let things slide like that. Back in the ring, we got Jacob Fatu confronting Roman Reigns, and he's just salivating at the opportunity. I normally don't like the woe is me promos, but Jacob Fatu did a pretty good job. He was like, look, when I was broke, when I was down bad, it wasn't you and the Usos that were looking for me. It was Solo that gave me a chance. Roman was kind of funny when he mentioned that Solo couldn't even order a cup of coffee to the building without express permission from the tribal chief. Roman just keeps on like letting this dude know that, look, you haven't earned a shot at the championship. And this continues to get into what I be talking about. If you just show up, cause havoc, you're going to get not only what you want, but you're going to get a title shot. Why would anybody play fair on this show? It literally doesn't even make any sense that there's potentially an entire roster looking to challenge Roman Reigns for the title. It's the dude that decided to crash the show and make the most noise and hurt everybody. He's the one that got a title shot. And again, I don't want it to be known that this dude has been crashing shows literally since his introduction. He's never fought fair. But as soon as Roman Reigns tells this dude that he can't give him a shot because that'd be nepotism, Jacob just puts him in a Tongan death grip. Roman sells it pretty good, but that was such an awkward transition. Like, it literally just went from, I can't do this, it's nepotism, bang, that's it. Roman eventually accepts the match, and then Jacob walks off saying that, look, I'm not going to see you at Backlash. I'm going to see you next Monday. This was such an awkward ending to the show. Let's talk about it, bro. Oh my gosh. All in all, bro, this show, I feel like they tried. Like I mentioned, in some of the promos, they tried to link together a lot of things. I don't understand what Bayley and Lyra are doing. I don't even understand the purpose of them as a tag team at all. They were never supposed to be a tag team. But I feel like moving forwards, we're about to get a bunch of tag team nonsense, dude. But you know how we rate these things, man. Yay, nay, okay. Just because I enjoyed some of the references in the show, I'm going to mention that this was an okay show. I mean, nothing wrestling-wise really stuck out to me. Nothing storyline-wise really stuck out to me. But I will admit that they did a bunch of good promos, I guess. Subject matter, like I mentioned, was blah. But look, if I think about it too long, I'll probably change my mind. It's going to be another nay episode of Raw. And I'm just trying to find bright spots here, man. That's it. Contrary to popular belief, I'm not the negative guy. I'm just the kayfabe critic. That does kind of sound good, right? That does sound kind of good. But look, y'all stay tuned, man, to the next one. Let me know what y'all thought about this one in the comments below and what you're excited to see moving forwards.